Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another crypto video. We all know that the crypto space is in a position right now where fear by far plays the biggest factor in people's decisions. And we're seeing that in every single number across the board. Take a look at this article. Staggering $2.8 billion in Bitcoin has exited crypto exchanges in just 1 month. And if I were to tell you that things could get even worse, I think that's only adding fuel to the fire. But it's true. I think most analysts and most people that are in the crypto space know things can get even worse, but it's most likely that things will get worse before they get a whole lot better. And that's partially what I want to talk about with you guys today. Let's start out with this article. One final capitulation crash before the big Bitcoin reversal, analyst Benjamin Cohen analyzes potential Bitcoin bottom. Actually, the most important quote from his whole story is, when you're in the bear market, you just give a little more time and we tend to go lower. And it's actually a phenomenon you have in every single market. Well, the moment that things are bullish, things tend to get more bullish and people tend to get more excited. But the moment that things go bad, and this is always the case, things tend to go even worse. And that's logical. It's in human nature to expect things to continue in a certain manner. If you always think things are going to change, you have no more certainty in life, which people don't really like to not have. The point being, right now that we're in this bear market, like we've said many occasions before, things can go way worse, and that's mostly because people tend to think that things can go way worse. And so, logically, if people have this expectation that things could go worse, they actually end up doing exactly that. Together, of course, with the fact that FTX has caused a whole lot of drama. We've covered it over the last couple of days, but the drama regarding FTX is just absolutely wild. And like I covered in my stream earlier today, it might actually be so much deeper than we initially thought. BitBoy right now is going to Bahamas to actually try and investigate everything that's happening on the levels over there. He, I believe, found out that the corruption might actually be a lot higher level than might meet the eye, where the authorities in the Bahamas are fine with keeping FTX the way it is, not charging Sam Bankman-Fried, not doing too much about that. We can see this article here as well, though, where the SEC might have actually deliberately screwed us over big time, big time. Because what the article was talking about here was that the SEC fined BlockFi. How much did they fine him? $100 million, which is a lot of money, which apparently they could pay, but couldn't, because they went over to FTX US and request a $250 million loan, or basically a line of credit. Now, what happened, however, is that the SEC took this and placed it as a victory. And now that after half November, BlockFi came out and said, hey, we can't pay our investors back because FTX has trouble. Well, you're starting to think here. Where exactly was the SEC's victory that they keep claiming about? Because they took $100 million from BlockFi, which might have not been paid, might have been paid, we do not really know, which they paid for by loaning it from FTX US, which already is kind of strange, because if you think about it, they should just be easily able to pay this back if they were allowed to continue on with their operations, meaning, they were making some good money, and somewhere in there was something good that they were doing, otherwise the SEC would have shut them down, but not good enough where they were able to pay back such a fine, because the moment that FTX US was not able to give this line of credit anymore, they crashed and were not able to give people their money back. So there was something really sketchy going on, but I wonder, why didn't the SEC find that out then? Why didn't the SEC say, no, you can't do that, you can't go for this loan, or no, you can't pay this back to us, or basically pay this fine to us because you don't have the money for it? Why did they fine him $100 million, say, hey, we did something for you small investors, but then leave it at that, and a couple months later, or a year and a half later, let's say, they go down because they have too much debt, basically? Isn't there something wrong with your system then? And how then could the SEC come out with a report praising themselves when you start thinking about it, this already makes absolutely no sense. Now, before I get too far astray, I want to refer back to this one final capitulation comment. Do I honestly expect things will get worse? I don't really know. All I know is think about your future properly. On this channel, we cover crypto news, but I've also been in the crypto space for such a while that I like to educate people on how exactly to traverse this crypto space to the best of their ability. And one thing we can take a good look at is examples of other people, like, for example, Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street. He admits to losing $300,000 to crypto hackers. And all I gotta say about this one is, don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. Protect your money safely. If we take a look at this article, which we're going to do right now, I don't have any of my money in crypto on exchanges. It's all off in cold storage, so to speak, with Ledger. So I got hacked. Actually lost about $300,000 on MetaMask last year. This is very tough industry right now because it's literally, really like the Wild West, Belfort said. And he is quite true. Now, I must admit, I keep a lot of money on crypto exchanges. It's the truth. I'm telling you this fully aware that I'm dumb. It is literally stupid to do so, but I'm doing that because I know it'll make me more money by doing that. However, it should be a conscious decision. If you've made the choice, hey, I'm gonna keep money on crypto exchanges, that should be a deliberate action. You should kind of have a little notebook, pick a little, okay, I don't have any good notebook here in front of me. Pick up one and you know what? For the memes, I decided to grab a Binance notebook, as you can see, unopened. But again, the Binance notebook, what you would then do is open it up, of course, obviously, and write down in there, okay, I am keeping money on crypto exchanges for this reason. Or the opposite, I am taking my money out of crypto exchanges for this reason. All I'm trying to say right here is you should be deliberate with where exactly you have your money and why. I am not against keeping your money anywhere, but keep it safe and know full well that you have to make this money last for a long term. The reason I am keeping money on crypto exchanges is because I trade crypto. We have a full crypto trading team, and there needs to be money in these accounts to actually make money with. That is a good reason. Or because you're utilizing some Binance lending products, whatever. I don't really care exactly what you do. Know it. Know it. If you only have $100 worth of crypto, maybe it's also fine. But just realizing why you're doing that is half the work. You have to keep realizing that this is not a 1-year thing. This is not a 3-month thing, a 6-month thing. If you've committed to the crypto space, which might sound kind of odd, might sound kind of strange, but the way I view it is, if you're here for the long term, right? You're not here for a necessary good time on the short term. You're here to stay. You're here to become extremely wealthy off of this technology. You're here to see the technology adapt and change the world, in my own view. Well, all good. Be exactly careful, or extremely careful, I should say, where exactly you keep what, and be, again, as I said, deliberate with where you move your money to. Because if you get hacked, well, nobody wants that. Let me also reiterate an earlier point. The whole story I was making right here has to do mostly with the fact that capitulations might come. Prices might go down lower. All I keep doing is buying freaking more. All right? I don't know where the bottom is going to be. Nobody knows exactly where the bottom is going to be. We have many indicators that showcase right now is an extremely juicy time to buy. And that is mostly because right now you're getting yourself 2017, 2018 Bitcoin prices. Again, realize that if you stepped in 5 years ago versus now, you could literally be buying at the exact same price. So you're basically getting a 5-year head start to a lot of people that bought last year. Or if you did buy last year or the year before, you actually potentially are able to average your price down lower because, again, it is a long-term game, which is why you also have to worry exactly where your money is stationed. Now, again, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. For example, the Bahamas has hit out at extremely regrettable criticism from FTX's new CEO after the Nassau-based crypto giant collapsed. Potentially, things are actually starting to move on that side as well. I'm covering a couple of pieces of news and a couple of mental pieces at once, I know, but that's because the severity of this is so high. So I can't leave it out for later today. I have to cover it as soon as possible. After FTX went bankrupt, the Bahamas suspended its license and took control of its digital assets. But the island nation has fired back at accusations that its regulations aren't up to scratch. The Bahama Attorney General accused the FTX CEO of inaccurate allegations in his court filings. The Bahamas is also home to Delta Bank, which in 2021 was reported to hold $15 billion in reserves for Tether. I didn't even know that, but that is wild. Now, we can dive really far into exactly all this stuff. Like, for example, here it says, One FTX lawyer previously said the company spent almost $300 million on luxury houses for senior executives in the Bahamas, while Fox Business reported that Sam Bankman-Fried often bought $2,500 lunches at one bistro. But this all depends on context. This depends on so many pieces that I don't want to spend our wake time here covering those details. What exactly they spend in terms of real estate depends so much on where that money was gathered from. Did FTX buy this for FTX and give it to these senior executives? Did the senior executives get this in bonuses? Was this all Sam Bankman-Fried's scheme? We don't really know, so covering this is pure speculation. Don't want to waste my time on that. Same thing for the lunches. Is it him only eating? Is it 15 people eating? Is it 150 people eating? Is it a good week celebration, or is this an everyday type of endeavor? I don't know. But because of articles like this, you can understand more and more why the Bahamas might want to harbor them, might want to protect them, and not actually let them be in too much trouble. Because the more money that they lose, the more money that they lose over in that country, which hosts only 400,000 people, of which FTX was a central part of the economy, as far as I understand right now. Again, they had $100,000 worth of catering per week. This was a very significantly priced restaurant. Soup, the restaurant's cheapest appetizer, cost $14 a bowl, and entrees cost up to $75. Well, maybe not too expensive, but if you're spending $10,000 a day on food, there's a lot of people there where if you go away, well, things get pretty feisty. Where things get kind of difficult, and again, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but where it does get kind of difficult is things like this right here. Actually starts right here. Bankman-Fried told Reuters that FTX provided the staff with free meals and an in-house Uber-like service to transport them around the island, and 10 of them lived together in a roughly $40 million luxury penthouse. $40 million. All right, that's one thing. Now, Bankman-Fried has touted himself as only taking a $200,000 salary, declared $1 million in real estate assets, and spent $50,000 on personal expenses. But the strange part about this is when you start thinking about all the homes, and that's where this part comes in. Reuters reported that FTX senior executives at the company and Bankman-Fried's parents, but at least, and again, how can the parents buy that? Bought at least 19 properties worth around 120 mil in the Bahamas over the past 2 years, citing property records. This includes close to 72 million spent on 7 condos in a beachfront resort community bought by a unit of FTX, per the outlet. And so, to my own knowledge, the reason that Sam Bankman-Fried could always say, hey, I'm an altruist, hey, I'm a kind of minimalist sort of, I don't need much stuff, I want to take a small salary, is mostly because he's just funneling it through parents, as these records cite. I'm not saying it's necessarily true, I'm just stating whatever I found on the interwebs right here, which I believe to be true, but hey, that's my thoughts. It goes on more and more and more about why he doesn't need to take out a big salary if you're buying everything through a subsidiary of FTX, which is really freaking smart. The more I start thinking about it, I'm thinking, man, these guys, and maybe that because of his parents, because they're such good lawyers. Despite telling Bloomberg in April that he didn't want a yacht, Fox Business reported that Bankman-Fried owned a 52-foot yacht worth millions of dollars, and yeah, it's just wild. Maybe the whole altruism was all just a stunt. I do not really know. All I know is this situation is pretty damn crazy, but all you have to understand is keep strong. Again, coins like XRP, for example, just to name a few, I personally think will survive over the longer term. It's not that much of a trouble. We just today had Putin come in and basically say, hey, this cross-border via digital assets, that's exactly what we need to get into. We know the tech, we understand the necessity for companies to get into this. All you have to do, in my own opinion, is have the patience to be able to wait these things out. Crypto regulation right now is at a really strange point, but it'll fix itself and it will get better. Again, in my opinion, all you have to do is wait it out and it'll be fine. And what I'm personally doing is just buying the dip. But yeah, that was it for today's video, guys. Make sure you press that notification bell on and press the like button if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys again in another crypto video later today.